everyone. Today we're going to start talking about how to do a contour line drawing for your shoe project. Now, a contour line drawing is going to be the outline of your actual object plus some outlines of the different details that you have on your shoe. Now, I have sandals on today, but I know a lot of you guys will have tennis shoes on, so I printed off a picture. The first thing I'm going to think about is the shape of my shoe. Now, if I take some straight edges, I have a almost straight line right here, and then the back of my shoe could create an upward line. And if I extended from my toe all the way up, my tennis shoe is almost like a triangle. And that's going to come in really handy when we start drawing the outline of our shoe. Now, before we do that, I'm going to use my highlighter to show you exactly what areas of my outline I'm going to trace. So the first thing I want to do is trace what the front or the closest part of your shoe is to the viewer. You notice that you see the back part of the shoe right here. That's going to be an important part for when we draw our shoes to make it look 3D. But first, I'm going to trace just the part that's closest to us. So I'm following along the bottom of the shoe, coming around the edge, curving up to the toe. Now, earlier I said that it's kind of like a triangle. This line isn't perfectly straight. It kind of scoops in towards the bottom of the shoe. So I'm going to follow that outline and come up, and then the front of my shoe, the part that's closest to me, comes down like this and back up and around. Now remember, I also talked about this little part right here, and that's a separate shape. So I'm going to come up and add that little piece. Now some of the other details, the logo, I can add that. And when I look at this, I notice that it starts with some lines that just crisscross. And then there's an additional little line that's outlining those first 4 stripes. And that's the whole logo. I also want to add my shoelaces, which shoelaces are really just kind of like little rectangles, and paying attention to which direction they're crossing over. I'm also going to draw the sole of my shoe, and you'll notice that it changes colors right here. So I've got that line, whoops, right here, and then it comes up, and I could add this little detail where the toe is. Those are the only parts I'm really worried about with my contour line drawing, because we're going to keep tracing this image over and over again, and I don't want to have to worry about all those teeny tiny little texture details that aren't as important to your shoe. Alright, now that I know exactly what I'm going to draw, the area in the pink, because it's a printout, it really doesn't matter which direction I'm looking at it. So for you guys' benefit, I'm going to go ahead and draw it upside down. Now, remember, I told you that it looks kind of like a triangle. So I'm going to start off with the beginning of my shoe like a triangle. And I'm doing it in pencil, and I'm drawing it very, very lightly so that I can easily erase what I don't need. I'm also using very sketchy lines because I can go back and erase them later. So I'm coming in, if you notice where my shoe indents right there, it looks like mine comes up a little bit too high, so I can go ahead and fix that up. I'm gonna think about the way it scoops in. And then it comes up, and then my shoe takes a nice curvy swoop. So it goes over, down, Remember, I'm not drawing it perfectly the first time. I'm trying to get the overall shape right. All right, so there's the basic shape. I haven't added very many details. Now I'm gonna add that shape in right here. Remember, that's the back part of my shoe. I'm also gonna think about my laces. My laces stay in a certain area, and I could have actually highlighted that right here so that I know exactly where my laces stay. And I don't want to have them come too close to the end of the shoe. Actually, maybe I'll extend the shoe a little bit. All right, so I'm looking at which direction the laces go. And they're kind of like little rectangles that are curved on the ends. All right, guys, remember how I said that I could always go back and erase? This ended up being a little bit too long, so I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. And I'm not worried about my lines yet because I'm still going to be able to erase them. So now I'm going to move on to this shape right here again. Remember, it started off with the 4 lines that came around like this. So I'm going to start about where it starts here. And I'm paying close attention that this line comes on the front side of this little arch. So I'm going to come down, and then they almost touch but not quite, and like that. Then I have some little lines that kind of come from the back side of this arch and come right here, and another one right here. Now remember, then they're just outlined. So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to go ahead and outline that special shape. I might have to extend them down because I should really add the sole. It comes down. There we go. I'm drawing that dark outline right now. And then this one comes back up. And then maybe I will draw that right there. So I'm going to extend these lines all the way to where they meet the sole. And this white part's a little bit different than the actual gray line. And then right here I've got that, again, a nice little swoop. All right, so I'm going to add these lines. Doing my outline right now. And then I've got this nice shape right here. And another one right there. All right. The next step I'm going to do is trace over all the lines that are important. Remember that I've got a lot of lines that I don't need, and I'm going to go back and erase them. But for right now, I'm going to trace over the lines that are important. All right, as you can see, I have a lot of pencil lines that I no longer need. Because I traced over my original drawing with Sharpie, which I'm double checking to make sure I have all of my lines covered, I'm going to go ahead and use my eraser to erase all of those lines I don't need. That way, when it comes to tracing over this project for repeating my design with my tracing paper, I already know exactly what lines I need, and I won't be confused by lines I don't. Whoops. Trying to erase those lines without getting my paper all wrinkled. I can also look back after I finish erasing it and decide if there's any other details that I want to add to my shoe. Right now I'm just doing a side-by-side comparison. There's a couple little details I might still add, like there's a diagonal line going right here. I'm not going to worry about doing it in pencil because I'm pretty confident on my skills that I could do that without the pencil first. So I'm going to add that little detail just for some interest in the back of the shoe. And then this has some kind of cool design going on right there. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. All right, now I'm pretty happy with it. This is where we need to end for today. Next week, we're going to do the next step, which includes tracing paper.